I'm Patrick Bailey with iQless. Today is June 4th, 2022, and today I'm going to talk about my 60-hour print failure. Boom, boom, boom. And a couple of good things that I think have come out of it. Okay, so here is my failed print. And we're just going to show it off real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about it and go over the details. So, in some sense, I'm kind of glad it failed. Gave me an opportunity to remake a different one. A couple of things that I think that I could improve on it. Well, I guess we'll go one by one. Here I've got this thread on the bottom, and one thing I failed to do is there's no catch on it. There's nothing to stop it. So in fact, my wife's laughing at me right now. The camera crew's laughing. So the new design has a catch on that, so you can't do that. Another thing is I put all these, you'll see it in the rest of the video. I have all these supports in here because what I did is probably right about here, I'm arching up. But if I'm arching up around here, that's a much shallower angle than 45 degrees. So there was all kinds of stuff where there was filament kind of, fraying. It looks ugly. In fact, you can't, I don't know if you can video that or not. But I don't know if you can get in there or not.
Hold it still.
We'll see. But the angle is so steep in there that it's really ugly and not very good for the way the things that I like to print. So the redesign kind of will fix that and make that a lot nicer. It's really frayed. Another thing I did fix how it attaches up here a little bit, so it's a little bit nicer up here. Same thing. I angled too deep, too shallow, too deep, too shallow. And then also, a subject of another video I'm going to have pretty soon, I kind of maxed this out so it was at the very top height. And that's why it failed. And we'll talk about it in a minute. We'll talk about in a minute why it failed, and I have a couple of solutions. So one of the reasons it failed is the filament holder I have is fairly close to the top. So I'm actually working on a filament holder that's longer to hopefully eliminate that. And so another part of my redesign is like, okay, let's just avoid that possibility for now. Let's not push it. So the new one I designed is only going to go about this high. So it's not going to go that extra little bit. So that's going to help solve that problem for now. So anyway, well, there's that. Let's go. But also at this point, here's my nut that did not fail. But it is nice to confirm before I start making a whole new one that it will thread on there just fine. So I like the look of it. So I think when I just started version 2. It's printing right now. So pretty soon we'll see that come out, and I think it'll be a cool thing to show off at the homeschool conference, this really giant big bank. So with that, let's go talk about it and go over details, numbers, etc. Okay, so I got no URLs or anything to show on this because I haven't posted anything yet because I'm still working. I've designed the new one, but I'm still waiting through the process to print everything. And here, but one detail I can talk about is this. I did weigh this. So this guy, the nut is fine. I think the nut will be fine for the new design, the new one. But the bolt, of course, is my big old failure, and it weighs 0.524 kilograms, and so that's $10.48 of, you might say wasted material, but it's still kind of a good example to show people that things fail. And I burned 70 hours on that failure. So boy, a big long failure, probably definitely my longest failure. So I tend not to try to print things more than 24 hours. I'd rather split it into 2 or something. Well, I don't want to split things into 2. I just don't do big things. They're big. Of course, one way to solve, I'd like to keep things simple, so I try to do the default 0.15 layer height and a 20% infill, kind of do the default for everything. And then I might circle back sometimes, which I'm going to be doing soon, and do a bigger nozzle. So once I print out the better one, and hopefully it works just fine, I might circle back and see do a different differentiation and do a 0.8 nozzle and see how much faster you can print it. With a 0.8 and a much bigger layer, like a 0.4 layer and a 0.8 nozzle, should speed it up significantly. But I haven't gotten there yet. So, in fact, I'm getting ready to since I'm getting ready for the homeschool conference, I'm getting ready to swap out my 0.4 nozzle on the i3 Mark III to 0.8 to try to redo the, to do the T-Rex skulls faster. Because now that I've proven it works just fine at 0.15, I think the details will probably look good with 0.4 layer height and a 0.8 nozzle, but we'll see. But anyway, that's another story. So, you know, almost $11 for this failure. But anyway, here, I'll show you on the screen. Here is a cutaway in Fusion 360 of the original design. And like I mentioned, you can see right there, you can see that that angle definitely is, you know, much steeper angle than that 45 degrees. And so it's just kind of hard to overcome. And I saw a lot of errors when it was actually printing. And then up here, that's probably okay, but I did see some issues with that. That's, you know, not quite 45. And then, boom. And of course I had issues just because of the height. And I'm also working that. I'm going to prepare another video. I've already got it prepared and printed, trying to take my spool holder and just lengthen it. Now normally when I had my office set up before, I had the spools up high on mounted on the wall. So one thing, it's really nice to have your spools mounted really, really high because you don't have to worry about anything catching. I think it just got too close, it moved, it caught, all kinds of issues occurred. So I think I have an answer for that too. But anyway, so there's that guy. But I have, let me go get the new one, threaded bank, and kind of show, here's the cutaway. Let's see if we can, let's see, move some of the things. Okay, so here's the new one. And hopefully this will have all the fixes. So down here you can see I have this cylinder kind of going up further, and then it actually angles in, and hopefully that will catch the plug going in there so it doesn't go over. And then I spent a lot of time doing these arches here. So we have, in fact I'll go back through the history, but there's kind of like, I don't want to say a Gothic arch, but there's all these arches here so that we can better bridge that. And then I just go flat across, because we can bridge that far. But having that central area like that I think is going to be a big help. And then at the top I just did a much shallower angle. I think, what did I do? Yeah, that's it. I did a much shallower angle, and then I had the circle up here because I can bridge that much just fine. And then we have, you know, that going through there. So if I take off the analysis, boom. Oh, and for those who may be new to Fusion 360, the analysis tool is kind of cool. So you can actually go here, and I'll make a new analysis. You can have as many as you want, but you can click on a flat surface here is probably the easiest way to do it. Or, you know, if you need to, you can click on one of these guys. But we'll try another angle here. So we'll click on that one and go up to Inspect and go to Sectional Analysis. Just click on that, and then you can drag this. And it's also kind of cool because when you can do this. You just go back and forth and kind of see where every little thing is. It's a good idea to kind of make sure things are doing what you think they're going to do. And then I can say hit OK, and then that should be, it should show up in my sectional analysis, so I can turn that on whenever I want. And actually that cutting plane will actually work on other ones. So if I leave that and go back to my old one, it should cut that if I bring it up. So it can be reused. But also you're not limited to that angle. You can do any angle. Let me see. Turn that guy off. I could go click on the top here and say Inspect, Sectional Analysis, boom, and then kind of go down. So yeah, oh, there's a much better way to see it. So you can see down here, I should probably do a video on the techniques I used for this. It was kind of fun because there's some copy rotation tools within within Fusion 360, and so you had all these around there, and then so maybe I should do a video on it sometime. Because basically you make one hex, and then you can basically copy it around. You can say, hey, here's the rotation, and do this many, and it'll copy them and do the correct angle. And then you can get one arch correct. Let's see if I can get that. Let's see, 9.8. Then you can get one arch correct and do the same thing and copy them all around. And in fact, here I had to do two different arches because there's like a short one and a long one. And then I had to do one in between, and then I had to do, there's a lot of little things I had to do to kind of get it going. And I think it's going to work pretty well. So, there is all that. Let's see, anything exciting at the top. Also, cancel on that. I also shortened it just a little bit, so it's not going to hit that maximum height. I think I knocked about 30 off of the top, something like that. And we'll show a difference. Well, the truth is, the new one is about as tall as where this one failed. This one had a little bit to go, so the new one's going to be about as tall as this one. But there you go. Sometimes, take advantage of those failures. You learn something. And that's one reason, 3D printing originally was intended for prototyping. That you could prototype things a lot quicker. And in some cases, maybe you want to do something in a different material. Like, let's say you wanted to machine this, aluminum machining, but you're not, well, it's an exaggeration. Let's say you just wanted to bolt. I don't know why you'd want to do that. But in a lot of cases, you would, you thought you knew what you wanted, like in product design. And so you would mock things up, like in the industry, in car industries, like they'll make clay molds and do all this stuff. I think there's a lot of foam stuff they used to do, like at Apple and things back in the day. But with 3D printing, you could print something out where you thought you had a good idea, but you didn't know until you actually had it in your hand and how you would actually operate it. And so 3D printing helped you to do that. So you'd actually do a bunch of different tries and try different things out and see how it felt in your hand. And similar thing here. So I failed 70 hours, but it gave me a chance to retry. And so, this is just personal home use. So a long failure like that, it cost me $10. It doesn't cost me $5,000 in lost productivity time because it's just for fun, right? So, I'm happy for the failure because as it was printing, I didn't like that angle. And I probably was going to redo it anyway because I just didn't like it. But with that, we'll start the new one. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I know I tried to record these earlier to kind of keep up this pace. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I may already have the new one already printed out. And hopefully, I may or may not have it posted. So you can download if you really want to do a print this long. It's a long print. Maybe someone wants to, but I probably should do a video going over how to create this. The thread and the bolt, easy, not that complicated to do in Fusion 360, but all the extra features for the support, a little more complicated, but still not too hard to do. I should probably do a video on that. Okay, with that, let's wrap this long failure up. That 3D printing is an engineering, with a reminder, should do it the right way, right? That 3D printing is an engineering adventure that you're on. You can develop your skills and your knowledge and take this in so many ways. You can make a business out of this. You can teach others. And you can make some amazing designs. So design it, engineer it, and when you fail, design and engineer it again. By the time this video posts, I should have my giant threaded bolt bank, version 2, done. Let's hope this one does not fail. I do like the redesign. If you look at the end of this video, you can see the extra arches I added in this design. At any rate, here's hoping.